Owen, so not one, not two, not three, but four Northeastern North Carolina football teams are in the state football playoffs.
Talk about the Four Horsemen.
The best coverage of high school and college athletics in Northeast North Carolina begins now. This is NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
We're ready to stuff December with some high school football goodness. Thanks for listening to the show. Episode 16 of the third season. He's Malcolm Shields, sports writer for the Daily Advance, and I'm sports editor Owen Hassel. First-time guest Malcolm on the show. He's got his Hertford County squad in the third round of the 2AA state playoffs. We welcome football coach Terrance Saxby. How's life in the Husky, Coach?
Right now, life is great in the Husky. We're just working really, really hard and trying to win one more football game. So things are going good in the Husky, North Carolina.
And that's the beauty of the playoffs. You're just trying to win one more game. 1-0. 1-0. Not looking ahead.
That's it. Not looking ahead, 1-0. You know, and it's important that we stay the course and understand that really the biggest game of our season is coming this Friday night. So, you know, that's been the goal all week, is to let the kids know that don't look ahead. We're not in position to look ahead. We need to worry about East Duplin. It's a very, very good football team, and we got our hands full.
Yes, East Duplin, the number one seed in the 2AA East, which we'll talk much more about here a little bit later on. But for more on Northeastern North Carolina sports, follow us on Twitter. Also use the hashtag NENC Sports to keep the discussion rolling. You can follow us at NENC Sports. Then for me, I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
Coach Saxby, I believe you also have Twitter.
Yes, it is BIG Sax59. That is my old college playing number. I'm Big Saxby, and my son is Little Saxby, so that's what we go by.
Makes sense. Chowan University alum, I believe.
Yes. 2003 alumni, played 3 years of football, 1 year junior college ball, and I've lived in Northeastern North Carolina ever since I went to Chowan. So.
Fantastic. There's also more ways to stay involved with sports in Northeastern North Carolina in the form of a blog. Go to nencsports.wordpress.com for tidbits that aren't always in the Daily Advance, plus interviews and videos from various Northeastern North Carolina games. We'll have more of Coach Saxby and, yes, Edenton Northeastern Part Deal. Deal? Do?
Due? Two.
You get the point. Thank you. Dose. After this.
WRVS 89.9 provides training for all students and volunteers interested in radio broadcasting. But without your donations, this radio station will go silent. Let's make a sound today. Now is a great time to give back to public radio. Make a tax-deductible donation by calling 252-335-3985 or online at www.ecsu.edu/WRVS.
This is John Wheeler, head football coach of the Currituck County Knights, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Johnny's going to tell you something you didn't think.
Huh?
I don't think Coach Saxby understands the song.
No, not at all. I'll be honest.
we got to get Coach Saxby up with the oldies, the good stuff.
The oldies. Not that old. Maybe not that.
We're about the same age, though.
Probably 38.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, 3 Northeastern Coastal Conference teams played last Friday, and 3 won. Hertford County, Northeastern, Edenton all advanced to this Friday's third round. We know what's in store for the Aces and Eagles. We're going to talk more about that, of course. But the Bears, part of that NCC title equation, headed to 2AA, 2AA. I'm like EAA. I feel like I need to say 2AA. East number 1 seed, East Duplin. Coach Saxby, what stands out the most about the Panthers?
Their execution on offense and their physicality on defense. Those are the two things that we've talked to our kids about all week long. Offensively, they execute so well, in running the plays. In the wing T system, they set their big plays up really, really well. And we've been preaching that all week to our kids. You know, defensively, they're very physical. They make a point to stop the run. And you know, they have athletes on the outside that you know, do well in the covering aspect. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. But, you know, we're up for the challenge. We've been up for it pretty much all year long. And you know, this is no different for us.
You go out last Friday to High Point Andrews, make that trip, jump out to a 21-7 lead. Andrews makes the comeback, but you're able to hang on. I think you were telling me a few days ago, the games against Northeastern and First Flight, both 1-point wins for you, really showed up in that game. What else showed up in playing some tough games throughout the season to help you in that matchup?
Well, you know, as a coach, obviously you'll take any type of win that you can get, but sometimes when you get those tough wins, you know, the kids continue to believe. You know, at no point did we waver. At no point did they come to the sideline and begin to fuss at each other or try to blame one another. They said, you know what, let's just go out and win it. You know, and one of the things I'll kind of share with you that's been really, really a positive for us is that, you know, once we hit the playoffs, our kids didn't care about their own personal stats anymore. They didn't care about who you know, got the glory. The only thing they cared about was who's going to win at the end. You know, and there was times in that game where the kids said, "Hey, coach, call this play for such and such," and they made my job easy because if they believe in the play, then that tells me that they're going to go out and run it. So, you know, a lot of times you know, just listen to your kids because sometimes they're out there in the field and they know. You know, even as a coach, you try to scheme things, but, you know, I trust my kids, and when they believe in one another, that, you know, that bodes well for us.
I'm glad to hear the unselfishness coming out in the playoffs. I know during the season, at least early on, you had a couple guys hurt. You started out, I believe, 2-3. Maybe some frustrations bowling. I saw a few plays that got called some personal fouls, some chippy kind of stuff. How have you been able to lock that down, to kind of get rid of some of that and get these guys focused?
To be honest, one of our team rules, because the personal fouls was an issue, to be honest, and one of the team rules was that if you get a unsportsmanlike personal foul penalty, that you were going to sit the rest of the game. You know, and kids, the kids thought, you know, originally our coach is just kind of messing around. If it happens with Kaim Perry or Jaquari Robinson, is he really going to sit him down? And but I believe it happened with my own son, Alex Maxbar. I actually got a personal foul penalty in a close ball game, and we sat him down for the remainder of the game. And, you know, the kids paid attention to it, to be honest with you. And, you know, that kind of helped us in that aspect. And there's some players on the team that kind of taken more of a leadership role and, you know, letting everyone know that, hey, this is going to be our brotherhood, our family, and we're going to do it together. And coach shouldn't have to police that. That's going to be something that we're going to pay attention to. And, you know, they understand how important it is because it might cost you a game. And we felt like it cost us one of the games that we lost this year against South Central early in the season. You know, personal foul penalty gave them a first down, and it cost us a possession.
Jaquari Roberson, everyone knows about his abilities and headed off to Wake Forest after this year. But I thought when you got Kaim Perry healthy, that's when you were able to turn that corner. Is there truth to that?
It definitely is, and I tried to explain to both of them that you're both very dynamic, but one without the other, it doesn't help the team. And once Kaim Perry came back and we got the running game going, because you know he's a special player, and sometimes when the O-line breaks down, he makes the plays. He makes them look good, and he makes me look good as a coach. And you know, we have been able to balance our offense with run and pass, and we pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves that if you're going to take the passing game away from us with adding the extra defender in the secondary, then we're going to run the ball. If you decide that you want to, load the box up to stop the run game, then we feel like we have personnel to throw the ball. So, the kids have kind of taken notice to that. They understand it, and that's pretty much a large part of our offense. It's not a whole bunch of tricks and games. It's simply numbers. And if you give us one or the other, we feel like we can win games with that. But Kyan Perry has kind of opened that thing up for us because of the threat of him in the running game.
Coach, it's not easy to try to replace a quarterback like Christian Folsom. How do you feel that Lance Hunter's kind of, progressed so far this year at being a first-year starter?
Being a first-year starter was, to be honest with you, it was still out. We didn't know what we had, but I could see in practice that he was willing to learn. He was going to work really, really hard, and we knew we weren't going to have the run threat, but we knew that passing the football, that he was pretty doggone accurate. And if we give him time, that he's going to make the correct throws and the right reads, and he's going to find the open receiver. And he's done a heck of a job of running the offense and understanding where his mismatches are. And I think he has not sure. I think it's 29, 30 touchdowns right now. He's thrown for over 2,500 yards, so close to Folston's numbers, but not quite there yet. And as a first-year starter, a kid who only threw one varsity pass, I'll take it. And I'm just excited to have him, going into this third round and in the future.
And you've seen Edenton and Northeastern, of course, finish 1-1 against them, beat Northeastern, lost to Edenton. Now that these teams are playing each other again, what are the keys for both of them in your mind as they face off for a chance to be in a regional championship, just like you guys?
Yeah. Well, starting with Edenton, the one thing I know about them is offensively, it's the system that they run, and sometimes it's not about having the best player, but if they can execute in the system, that's going to make them more and more effective. And sometimes you can get certain situations to work in your favor. The Bailey kid is unbelievable. The quarterback is another one who's the Hoggett kid is unbelievable. To me, I thought his decision making and the way he plays is very, very a smart and understanding football player. With Northeastern, everybody knows that they out athlete everybody. They're stronger than everybody else. They're more physical. So it's one of those situations where you got to kind of find out where you can hurt them. And running the dive for Edenton is going to be key, and just getting positive yards on the dive play, because it sets up a lot of other things. And for Northeastern, and obviously get the ball into your playmakers' hands and let them make a play.
I think also it's Edenton. If Edenton can get some success in the passing game, some Malcolm, I think is just incredibly crucial. And now you don't have Deshaun Hall; he's left the team. Right. That was your number 2 runner, ran for 1,100 yards this year. That's a loss. That's going to put a little bit more on Bailey. Is he up for the challenge? He was against Kinston.
Yep. Will
he be up for the challenge against Northeastern? Keemon Bailey only had 62 yards against Northeastern. That's the only game he didn't have 100 or more yards. And trust me, the Northeastern defense took a lot of pride in keeping Mr. Keemon Bailey to less than 100 yards. The guy's he's going to get 2,600 unless something really crazy. He's only 12 yards away for 2,600 for the year. That's just an astounding number. Even in an option offense, it's still a tremendous number. When you had another guy that ran for 1,100 yards as well, I think there just needs to be enough Edenton needs to not be so one-dimensional, if at all possible. And now, Malcolm, you've seen Edenton a few more times than I have. What else could work here for the Aces?
They're going to have to generate points, either special teams or defensively. Like Coach said, Northeast is going to out-athletic you, and it's going to be key if and when Northeastern does make a mistake, can Edenton capitalize?
And that's what, Coach, you did with your Hertford County bunch, really capitalize, it looked like, on Northeastern's mistakes and held on. Is that what you saw too?
Yeah, definitely. We knew we had to capitalize on our mistakes. And, there was one kind of X factor that we felt like we could take advantage of, and that's getting someone to cover Kareem Perry in the passing game. We thought that was an advantage for us, and we always felt like, obviously, anybody who plays Jaquari Roberson single coverage, it's advantage. It's an advantage for us, and to piggyback off what you said on, getting something in the passing game is important. But if he can run, get the dot play going, I think that opens up the passing game for him, and that's just part of it. And bringing guys into that box and getting their eyes on the run game so they can hit a pass or two. And then that will back them off, and it would ultimately help Bailey out when he's running the football. So I know it's going to be a really, really tough game, and I don't think it's going to be anything like the first game. I can tell you that.
I think the turnover part you mentioned, Malcolm, is going to be very crucial this time. Edenton just can't get a turnover. I think they have to score immediately. Like pick sixes, things like that. And Edenton's 2 wins against Northeastern since 2011. These teams seem to always play close games, so you think it's more even, but really the fact of the matter is Edenton's only beaten Northeastern twice since 2011, but in both of those meetings, it was a turnover game. The late fumble by A.J. Felton, Northeastern fans, and I'm going to bring this up. Late fumble by A.J. Felton from Northeastern. Edenton drive, scores, takes the win, wins the conference title. 2012, the 2 pick sixes that Edenton got and won that game at the Northeastern Athletic Complex for another conference championship. It took plays like that. It took maybe a touch of luck, and that's how Edenton was able to pull out those victories. They're going to have that early. To me, it's just Luke Hogger passes. It can be an adventure, can it?
It's been a bit of a struggle for him this year. The first drive against Kinston. His first pass attempt, I think it was like a third and pretty good distance, is an interception. And then from that point on, they stopped throwing the football until they got in the second half. They said, hey, let's go to our bread and butter. And I got to think at this point, I think Edenton's got to understand, we got to ride with what got us here, and that's with the run game. So if that's with Bailey, if it's a struggle with the dive play, stay a little bit consistent with it. You got a athletic runner in Majonta Stanley who's seems like he's going to step into that role for Deshaun Hall. Maybe he can get to the outside a little bit. They've got some backs that can kind of, help out Bailey there early on in the game.
Well, guys, we'll play a little over-under.
Okay.
Keemon Bailey, 100 yards, over-under.
Wow.
Go ahead, Coach.
I'm going to say under. Especially with the Holly kid out.
I'm gonna go over just barely. I think he breaks one big run and then he kind of puts together a little bit more of the smaller runs, but I don't think he's gonna get to the 200-yard mark. And if he does get to 200-yard mark, you got to think Edenton's in the game. But I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna stay under as well, but it'll be close. I'm gonna get like an 85, 90-yard type of deal because Northeastern's defense they're licking their chops for another challenge.
Right.
They haven't had a challenge these last few weeks. I mean, they took full advantage of Southwest Onslow fumbles in the first one. Southwest Onslow was scared. Let me tell you, they were absolutely scared. They played scared. They lost the first fumble, and Northeastern, James Perry goes and scores. They lose another one. James Perry recovers. J.R. Walker just moonwalks into the end zone. It was 21-0 against Southwest Onslow with 9 minutes and a second left in the first quarter. The game was already over in the first quarter. This is not your daddy's Southwest Onslow team that rolled into Elizabeth City last Friday night. The team that in 2013 broke the hearts of Northeastern, winning that game and going to a state title. This is not the same Phil Paget is the greatest coach of all time Southwest Onslow team. It's not even close. They're dropping down, I believe, to 1A. Again, they had been 1A in the past. They're going to drop down to 1A, I believe, for next year in the realignment. Maybe not a moment too soon, because maybe some of that group of athletes just is not there right now. Northeastern winning, I forgot the score because it's so crazy, because we're so focused on the third round. But anyway, Northeastern defense looking for a challenge. Here's your challenge again. Keep Keemon Bailey under 100 yards. I believe it's going to happen. And if it does, Northeastern has got definite advantage at that point. So over under Edenton 50 passing yards. I just said 50 passing yards for Edenton. Over under.
I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go over. One big play.
I am too, because I think Edenton's trying a few things this week in practice. Why not? Mm-hmm. I mean, when are you going to try them now? Right. You've already seen Northeastern once. Let's put in a play or two that the Eagles have not seen yet. And not to mention Northeastern's defense. They're going to give you one or two big pass plays. It just happens every game because they are so aggressive up front. They will give you one or two big pass plays, and they don't mind saying it. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ed Thornton, defensive corner, yeah, that happens. But they can do that with their athletes, with their aggressiveness, with their speed. Mm-hmm. They can allow a couple of those plays, and no one remembers. Will that benefit Edenton? Will that keep Edenton in the ball game? It's possible. So that's why I'll when I say the over, it'd be like 65 yards. But that's what over is. 51 yards is over. So that's all that matters here. Over under Northeastern 2 interceptions.
I'm going to say under. I think if he gives him one, he's probably not going to put his team in the position again to get another one.
I guess it just depends on how the quarterback rotation is going to be. Coach Moore has been consistent about, hey, I'm going to play both guys, and JR's turned the ball over a little bit of late, and DeMar's still in and out of the lineup. I'm gonna go push. I'm gonna go 2. It's gonna be 2.
I think it'll be 2 as well. Mm-hmm. They're always due for about 2 a game. Mm-hmm. I don't think that'll change, especially if Northeastern jumps out to a lead. Mm-hmm. Then they can stick to the run, and that's where it hurts for Edenton. If you get behind early and you have to start passing, what are the Aces going to do then? They better go very over on that 50 passing yards, is all I'm saying, because then it could start to snowball, just like it did in the first meeting, even though the turnovers were part of that. Really, Edenton's defense only gave up the 2 touchdowns in that first half. Was the Walker score on a short field, and then the touchdown Tyshawn Vaughn to Tyleik Overton just before halftime. So as a defense, Wes Matera, defensive coordinator, you've got to feel somewhat good about that. Right. It's just the turnovers and those other points that matter on the scoreboard.
Quickly, just to go back to the 50 yards passing for Edenton, who's the receiver that has to step up for the Aces?
Oh, everybody. Do we have to pinpoint somebody here? Mr. Cofield?
Okay. I go with Cofield or Boone. It seems like they always use him for a jump ball pass. It's got to be one of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I agree. 3 Northeastern North Carolina teams win Friday. Over under.
Over.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
We had to have someone with a homer pick. Over. Of course, we're also talking Plymouth in the playoffs once again in the 1A third round matchup against North Edgecombe. So 4 teams in the northeast corner. There are a lot of regions, Malcolm. We got friends that cover sports around the state, of course, different areas with larger schools. No, they don't have any teams. Yeah. Playoffs. They don't have any teams. They're done. Still got 4 in the corner. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
So I'll go over. What the heck? Let's just say over.
There you go.
See, if I hadn't said over, Coach might have said, "Wait a minute."
I would have just said which one.
Right.
I'll go over as well.
Okay. So we got the over under taken care of. I thought we'd play another game. Okay. We've got some players in this area who have put up some big time numbers. We already mentioned Mr. Keemon Bailey. I think he might be part of this. We're going to have an early entry draft. Players from the NENC they're not seniors, but they could maybe play for any other high school in the state, larger schools, or go ahead and play for college. Just go ahead and move on. No more eligibility. Just go on to the college ranks right now. And I think given Duke's 4-8 record, the Blue Devils, they want to go ahead and bring in J.R. Walker. They offered the Northeastern sophomore this past summer. Let's go ahead and do it. You don't need the extra 2 years of development. We see what he does for Northeastern. To me, Malcolm and Coach Saxby, he makes things look effortless. So you watch him sometimes and you go, well, he's not really doing anything. It's the way he plays. To me, he's smooth. He's smooth with the cutbacks. He's smooth running up the field. Am I not?
Oh, you're right on the point. I mean, from the point he took over at quarterback for DeMar Sutton midway through the season, he's been pretty much steady throughout the whole season.
I agree. He makes it look effortless. He really does. And it's almost like he's not trying,
right.
Which would drive me crazy as a coach because I would be pushing him to try harder. And when you look at him, though, he ends up in the end zone. So just an unbelievable athlete who really makes a lot of plays for Northeastern.
So freshwater, so clean. We're talking about Trevion Freshwater. He's a bear to take down, but that's why Hertford County has more than one bear, right, Coach?
That's right.
There it is.
We need 11.
Probably needed it a few times to take him down, but it worked. Big kid, and of course, that's number 4 for Northeastern. Malcolm, where would this talented sophomore go? Where could he go? He could go about anywhere.
Yeah, he's pretty special. East Carolina's been struggling a little bit, so let's see how he does down in Greenville.
Here's what I like, and you'll like this.
Okay.
I just thought of this right now. You're gonna like this.
Okay.
You got Dalvin Cook. And you got Trevion Freshwater. You got the Thunder.
Yes.
And you got the Lightning.
Yes.
There it is, Florida State.
There you go.
Trevion Freshwater to Florida State.
There you go.
Oh.
But he's got to change the number to like 6 or something now. Dalvin's 4.
Oh.
Or 34.
Oh. Could he do 04 like a racing car? You get the 04?
Yeah, we can work
He's
on it.
He's still 4. He has an O in front of it.
There you go.
That's a compromise. That's what we call a compromise.
There you go. Like it.
And does Dalvin Cook have one more year?
Yeah, but he's going after that money.
Okay.
Not going to be in the Florida State
saying,
alone.
so you might not have the Lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we saw this tough break coach, Kyan Perry. He's going to forego his final year at Hertford County. He's going to play with the Carolina Rhinos of Arena League 4.
Wow.
He wants to get paid badly. He's getting the
can't do it.
He's getting the league minimum as major league. What do you get, Jake? I get the league minimum. So that's just a few guys we could think of. Keemon Bailey.
Yeah.
Where would Keemon Bailey go? You hate to put some things down because of size, because he isn't that big. He's low to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But North Carolina A&T.
Okay. Hey, there's Tariq Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could he be the next Tariq Cohen?
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
You were thinking like, oh yeah, yeah, North Carolina A&T. That's a nice spot.
Absolutely.
I know some Division II schools have taken some interest, but I would think in one more year, he will garner some FCS looks, and A&T would be a nice. There's been a few players from this corner move on to A&T and North Carolina Central and had some success. KJ Melton, Northeastern, North Carolina A&T. Coach, do you have anybody at A&T?
Not on the roster, no.
Okay.
Not playing football.
Speaking of some of the guys who went to the next level, how do you feel like Christian's kind of, evolving from terms of playing quarterback at the high school level to playing receiver, I believe, at Shaw, correct?
Yeah. Because actually his junior year, he started out playing wide receiver.
Okay.
And we just felt like he was a tad bit slow at the wide receiver. And we said, you know what, let's just put the ball in his hand every play, and make him a dual threat player. And, it worked out for us. But I think he's transitioned well. And again, he's a hardworking, good kid who, obviously, when you move up to the next level, you got some things you have to work on. But hey, he's done well for Shaw this year. I had one play that they were, I think he caught it off the kid's back in his last game.
Absolutely.
For a touchdown.
It was a highlight play on social media for a while there. Yep.
Well, we'll be right back with more Northeastern North Carolina sports.
I'm a student athlete, which means I'm still learning.
I'm still growing.
I'm getting important lessons about perseverance, teamwork,
determination, respect, and dedication through playing sports in my school.
Mom, Dad, Coach, in a few years,
I'll probably forget a lot of the details, but I won't forget the lessons I learned
from the way you act towards my teammates,
coaches, referees, and other fans. What kind of lesson do you want me to learn? I'm watching.
Sportsmanship, together we make the right call.
This message has been brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association.
This is Edenton coach Paul Hoggart, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
I'm not even going to ask Coach about this one. Obviously, he doesn't like the oldies. Doesn't like the good stuff.
You got me.
Doesn't like it.
Stumped again.
The Temptations. Breaking us back into the NENC Sports Radio Show. I'm Owen Hassel. That's Malcolm Shields. And, of course, with us, Hertford County football coach Terrance Saxby. Let's get to a little Shimon now.
Jump on, get on me, all right.
The final 8 teams in the 2A state playoff bracket are either in down east or northeast areas. And in the West, it's more like the middle of the state, such as Reidsville or Lincolnton. And really, it's likely Reidsville or Lincolnton will make the state championship from the west side. So no problem for them to make the short trip to Wake Forest's BB&T Field for Saturday, December 17th, first kick of 7:30 p.m. I've talked a lot about schools coming up here whining about the trip and they need a charter bus because it's such a long drive, boo-hoo. We've been doing it forever. We don't cry about it. Surely Northeastern or Edenton, they will make the drive and be excited to make the drive for a shot at the state championship. No question about it if one of those two teams is lucky enough to get there. But there's an alternative. Put the 2A title game in either Chapel Hill or Raleigh. The 2AA is in Raleigh. It's at NC State, 11:05 a.m., and that looks like it's working well for those teams involved. And I know the 4A and the 4AA, they're naturally going to keep them in Raleigh because a lot of the teams involved are Wake County schools. But is it too much to ask for them to drive to Winston-Salem, for them to take a little more than an hour trip compared to Northeastern or Edenton, where that's 4.5 hours, something like that? Just give the smaller schools as short of a ride as possible. Come on now.
Jump on.
Yeah. It's a lot of driving.
Yes.
And it's again, we do it. We've done it. I mean, in the old Big East Conference days, New Bern was part of the conference when I was at Northeastern. That's a 3-hour drive one way. Used to it. Didn't need charter buses. Didn't say, we got to have a charter bus because we're driving up to the northeast corner. It's really tough. But in this case, there's an alternative. That's it. If you have an alternative, you have another option, use it. And it's there. Instead, the state says, no, send them to Winston-Salem, which is essentially a home game for the West team. NENC Twitter shouts, they're on the way when we return.
Like our Facebook page and give us your questions and comments. Find us at facebook.com/NENC Sports.
Discover graduate education at Elizabeth City State University. ECSU currently offers 4 graduate degree programs: elementary education, biological sciences, school administration, and mathematics. To learn more, contact the Office of Graduate Education at 252-335-3947 or online at ecsu.edu.
Here we go.
With every segment, I feel like I need to ask Coach what the song is.
0 for 3.
Yeah. This is new, though. That's the difference.
Oh, really?
This is Lady Gaga.
Yeah, 0 for 3. Sorry.
Yeah. It's all right. NENC Twitter shouts.
Your tweets go here. Twitter shouts.
This from Camden Basketball's Devin McCoy Sawyer. He's at Devin Sawyer _4. He says 3 Bruins in double digits, 9 out of 11 got a bucket tonight, 30-point dub. That was a victory against Columbia on Tuesday. On Wednesday, held off I think an improved Curry Tuck team. Won that one. Zach Roberson had, I believe, 16 points. Had a couple key buckets there in the fourth quarter when this game, Malcolm, was tied after 3 quarters. So it's both teams are just learning their way. It's so early in the year. No coach wants to sit there and thump their chest about a victory right now, but they'll certainly take it. If you listen to both coaches, Matt Lutz, the new coach, first-year coach for Curry Tuck, and then, of course, longtime coach Mark Harnley, it's, hey, we still have a lot of work to do. There's still some times where we're not moving the ball. We're not being aggressive. We're standing, a lot of standing. But in that fourth quarter, it's when your playmakers need to take over, and Zach Roberson was that guy. He took over against Curry Tuck on Wednesday, so the Camden Bruins 2-0 and 1-0 in the Coastal 10 Conference so far this year. But we encourage all of you to tweet about NENC Sports, and yours might get put on the air. Just post your thoughts or questions. We'll try to answer them. Use the hashtag NENC Sports. Now we get to our predictions.
NENC Picks of the Week.
We have 3 games on the docket. North Edgecombe at Plymouth. Again, Plymouth, the defending 1A state champions. One thing I've noticed is I think the 1A East this year is maybe a little weaker than usual, and that's saying a lot. And it's not to put down Plymouth. They play who they play. They're in this bracket. They take care of business. I thought if there was one team, though, that could maybe push Plymouth a bit, would be North Edgecombe. But it's not going to be enough. I'm picking the Vikings here. Malcolm?
I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Plymouth.
Coach?
I'm taking Plymouth.
Hertford County at East Duplin. Again, we're going to Kurt Herbstreit. Coach Saxby, he doesn't have to say anything. We know where his head and his heart is at for this. East Duplin has not allowed a point in the playoffs. Yeah. Not 1 point.
They beat up a pretty good Roanoke Rapids team, I believe, in the second round.
Roanoke Rapids, of course, coached by Eric McDaniels, who was at Northeastern. That was a Roanoke Rapids team that I believe was 11-1 going into that game, and got the unfortunate bounce, so to speak, to be on the road in the first round with a 10-1 record. The one loss was to Bunn. Bunn was a conference champion, thus a conference championship seed. Hertford County gets bumped up to 2AA. They're a conference champion seed. All of a sudden, Roanoke Rapids is like, come on, man. What's up with this?
Yeah.
I don't know many people would be happy to be on the road at 10-1. Right. But to Roanoke Rapids' credit, they went on the road, won the first game, then had to go play East Duplin. And that's just all. I've only been there once. It's a difficult place to play. Okay. In some cases, the fans are right on you.
Okay.
And I would think that would be the case again for this third round. It's a tough matchup. It really is. I think Hertford County's got a few more weapons that's going to test East Duplin. It's not going to be Roanoke Rapids. It's not going to be, I think, Graham in the first round by any means. That's why you're in the third round. But I'll be interested to see how Hertford County can control the line of scrimmage. East Duplin usually has a couple big boys. And Hertford County's got the size to compete at that level. If Roberson and Perry can really balance the offense like we've seen, Hertford County's got a chance. I said all that, and I'm picking East Duplin.
Yeah, I'm about to go with the Panthers.
He was liking me. Now Coach going to hang up the phone.
No.
So
it sounded good. Sounded real good. So.
It sounded like I knew what the heck I was talking about.
Yeah, you did. Really did.
Edenton at Northeastern. Oh boy. Yeah. We could see this coming from a mile away. And now, on the one hand, Northeastern wanted Kinston so bad. Mm-hmm. Northeastern really wanted Kinston bad after last year and that debacle. And how not only did Kinston beat Northeastern by a point in the third round, they beat Southwest Edgecombe the next round by a point.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
With some fluky stuff to get to the state championship to get absolutely throttled by Shelby. Northeastern's like, that's our spot. Well, now Northeastern, you've got the bracket you want. all the big-time teams in the 2A classification are in Coach Saxby's bracket that they're fighting off. You've got, we've mentioned this, they've got the road. They've got the best road. They're at home the whole way. Mm-hmm. But you play Edenton again. That's always scary. You beat a team so bad the first time. Mm-hmm. And these are kids. Yeah. They're not going to forget that. Yeah, they're going to say the right things. Well, it is different, and this, that, and the other. But in their mind, they're going, 48-14. We smashed them. And really, the line of scrimmage, Northeastern dominated. Mm-hmm. Some of their players were telling me, and that Wilson Hunt and Northern Nash were far more physical in the line than Edenton was. And Northeastern won both of those games, by the way. That's why I think if it settles down into maybe a 1 or 2 turnover game, Northeastern still prevails. I just don't see the difference being made up. Mm-hmm. Where is that difference being made up here? 48-14. I think, like anybody, I think it will be a closer game, but I've got Northeastern by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think Edenton's going to give a much better effort. I think that they will take care of the football. Again, like you had said before, where are they going to get those 10 to 13 to 14 points to kind of, turn the tide in their favor? And can Edenton make up that gap in a month and change since they last met? I don't know. Is it going to be important if Northeastern comes out a little bit slow and complacent? Can Edenton take advantage? But again, Northeastern's deep. They're talented. Go with the Eagles.
Coach?
I want to say, before I even give this pick, I wish both teams the best of luck. Obviously, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. But I think I'm going to follow you guys and say Northeastern. Just one too many athletes and playmakers, and it's just going to be difficult to stop them for 4 quarters.
Yeah. The Northeastern Coastal Conference this year has the opportunity to have 2 teams in regional finals and 2 teams in state championships. That is an amazing stat. And not to, I want to bring this up once again because the Northeastern Coastal Conference has had an incredible 2016. And I'm saying all sports, really, across the board. It started with Northeastern boys basketball early this year, making the regional final, just losing to an excellent Farmville Central team. No shame in that. You were there.
Yeah.
Losing to the fighting Tyler Mays of Farmville Central. Excellent ball club. Edenton baseball, regional final. Pushing South Granville to the limit. And then this fall, Currituck volleyball getting to a regional final. We forgot First Flight Wrestling earlier in the year, winning that team title with 3 individual state champions in wrestling. Currituck volleyball in the fall, regional final. First Flight boys soccer, state champions. They had gotten to the state title game 3 times in the last 4 years, and finally Coach Juan Ramirez breaks through. Wonderful time if you're a fan of the Kildover Hills School. And now you've got this in football with the opportunity for another state champion, for 2 state champions. This is big time stuff.
Very good calendar year, absolutely.
And make America great again. Make the Northeastern Coastal Conference great again.
There you go.
That's what this was. And still is right now. This is
right. Hats off to all the coaches in the area who have kind of put us back on the map.
Yeah, we've never been off the map. It's just no one recognizes us.
Well, there you go.
Antonio Moore puts it best many times. Like, well, no one claims us. Virginia does, only because the TV markets are required by law to do it. He didn't say that part. I did.
Very nice.
Every once in a while, I'm creative, so I need to take credit for that. But he did the Virginia part, which is true. Growing up, it would be like, yeah, where do you live? Elizabeth City, Virginia. Even though I'm a hardcore UNC fan, it's closer. You're so close to Virginia. That's how it goes. Anyway, we'll talk a little colleges real quick. MACU women's hoops at 4-4 lost to William Peace on Tuesday night. Leah McNeil with 19 points. Of course, she was last year's area player of the year out of Northeastern. ECSU women earned their first win of the season. They beat St. Augs 40-31 last Friday. Then lost to Fayetteville State and former guard Breonna Jones in the final second. So ECSU women, I believe, 1-5 on the year.
I believe they defeated Washington Adventists on Wednesday, I believe.
So 2-5.
Yes.
Okay. So ECSU with 2 victories on the year, moving right along. Let's go ahead and close things up. Power Pack Show once again. Remember to follow us on Twitter at NENC Sports. I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
That's for the latest sports updates, as well as pick up a copy of the Daily Advance newspaper. We almost always go beyond the radio time, so if you're not listening to YouTube, go to YouTube, search for either WRVS 89.9 or NENC Sports. I got crazy stuff going on in this room. What's happening to me? I got recorders going on. We got like 18 different media things happening.
There you go.
It's a busy time of the year. What am I going to say? It's just getting the holidays. I mean, I'm still stuffed from the turkey.
Yep.
And we're trying to look at a great football season. And either way, having at least one team in a regional final is a big deal.
Absolutely.
And the possibility once again of 3. I can't emphasize it enough.
Absolutely.
That's big. This isn't a metro area where you come to expect it. It just shows the hard work that's been put in by a lot of schools, a lot of coaches, a lot of kids. Well, for Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields, and Coach Terrance Saxby. Coach, thanks for being on the show. Will you come back on some other time?
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Okay. And it's the NENC, and don't you see?
Athletes live here.
NENC Sports Radio Show is produced at the WRVS-FM studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University.